Electrify your footwork with the Fila Axilus 2 Energized. Like the previous iteration, this Axilus 2 Energized features a low-to-the-ground ride and a generous fit to accommodate a variety of foot types. A molded 4-foot cage and an anti-slide lining combine to help maximize support. The TPU midfoot stabilizer delivers lateral stability, while the Evergrind rubber outsole has been enhanced for more durability and is still backed by a 6-month guarantee. First up on the review today, we have Chris, and like me, you have a narrow foot type, and I know that you also tend to favor a shoe that has a low profile, kind of a low to the ground ride. How did these shoes work out for you?
It's a little wide fitting for me. I have super skinny feet, so I was moving around a little bit in this one. Definitely a shoe I'm wearing 2 fairly thick pairs of performance tennis socks with. And then also, I really do, like you mentioned, like that low to the ground ride, and this shoe offers that. For really connected to the court, especially in the forefoot. It's a little more elevated and cushioned in the heel, so you get some nice protection on the landings, but you can really feel the court and move quickly in it off of the forefoot. I thought the upper did a good job of being very, very comfortable and flexing in all the right places, but yet when I am up against it, it does feel supportive. There is enough there to hold my foot when I'm up against it, but just getting my foot up against it's the tricky part because it is such a wide-fitting shoe. Ventilation-wise, pretty impressed too. The arch support is very low and I have a high arch, but once the shoe kind of molded to my feet, my arches felt fine and protected for the entire test. So the shank is doing its job. I just couldn't really feel any support inside the shoe. And apart from that, I thought the traction and durability was pretty good. The shoes are holding up well enough for me, and I'm getting plenty of grip to sprint around the court. So nice play test for me.
Next up on the review, we have Jason. Now, I know that you bring the wider foot type to the playtest team, and with the first generation of the shoe, you were a pretty big fan, so how did the update work out for you?
Pretty good. I think the first thing I noticed was that Fila seemed to have fixed the length fit issue. The first generation was fitting a little bit long. These seem to fit way more true, and it still has that nice wide fit that you mentioned. I also noticed that Fila addressed the heel slippage issue I was having with the first version. I think it probably has something to do with it fitting long, and now with this version I wasn't having any heel slippage issues, so that was nice. Once I got it on court, I thought it was nice and minimal, like Chris mentioned. It was really comfortable right out of the box. It flexed well. When I was moving around on court, I was noticing that the support and stability was good, not great. I would have liked a little bit more stiffer upper there, but traction was good like the previous version, and ventilation was really good as well. So overall, I thought this was a really comfortable shoe. I love the fit of it. It's good for us wide-fitted tennis players. I would have preferred a little bit more underfoot cushioning and a little bit stiffer upper, but overall, pretty good play test.
Next up on the review, we have Mark. Now, us on the playtest team know that you can run down a lot of shots, and you put a premium on a nice performance pair of tennis shoes. So how did the Axilus 2 Energized work out?
Shoes are a pretty important equipment choice for me. I am getting older and you guys are just hitting better and better, so I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to run all this stuff down. But yeah, this review was a really good play test overall. There were some compromises with the shoe, as there is with basically any shoe, but lengthwise, as Jason mentioned, it was a perfect fit for me. I wear a US men's 11.5. This is definitely a wider shoe option. I know they're designating it as a D, maybe a wider D, but I give it maybe the 2E realm, around there. And one thing I was really impressed about the shoe was with, even though I have a narrower foot, I was able to get a good fit. And when I drew the laces up pretty snug, the upper, the vamp area of the shoe didn't bubble up or crinkle when I stepped forward. So really impressive shoe that way. Outsole, same thing with the length, top notch. I didn't have any issue from toe to heel. In terms of the midsole's comfort, I would say it was kind of Spartan, not enough to bother me at all, but not a super well cushioned shoe, and that's part of the compromise with having something a little lower to the ground. It is a shoe under 14 ounces. I'll definitely say it's lightweight, and it feels that way around the court, and with it comes a sole warranty. So overall, this shoe checked most of the boxes. Overall, a great test, great shoe.
I was also on the play test for these shoes. With the first generation of these shoes, I wasn't on the review, but I did have a pair of them. And I will say that not a whole lot has changed between the first and the second generation. You still have that wider fitting shoe, quite a bit of room in the forefoot. So those players out there with the wider foot, this will be a great fit. For me, I had a little bit too much space in the forefoot. So that kind of took down the support level for me a little bit. I was just kind of having a little bit too much wiggle room in the forefoot with my toes and sort of that lateral movement. One thing I did to try to help that is I wore a thicker pair of socks, and towards the end of the play test, as the shoe kind of opened up from a lot of wear, I actually put a second insole in there, and that really helped give me a secure fit and also gave me a little bit more padding in the forefoot. But as far as a low to the ground feel, I felt like lateral support was pretty good. The shank, the TPU shank in the middle did a good job of keeping the shoe rigid enough for me to to change directions with ease. I like the rubber outsole, gave me a good blend of traction, grip, and slip. And I also thought that the durability was a bit better with this version compared to the first one. And for being such a lightweight shoe with a durability guarantee, that's definitely a plus in my book. If I really had any knock on this shoe, like Jay and a couple of the other testers mentioned, I would just like a little bit more cushion or padding in the midsole, especially in the forefoot of the shoe. But all in all, a good play test. And that wraps up this edition of the Shoe Review. For more information on these shoes or anything tennis related, be sure to head to Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.